Welcome to Half 2-4. Today in the issue, in Madrid, they are punching faces right at training Valverde against Tchouameni. Mourinho set an ultimatum to Perez, and Vinicius is already packing suitcases. Bayern feels robbed after the exit from PSG, and Babel directly speaks about the Arab money of the referees. Arsenal becomes the wealthiest club in England, surpassing even City. Liverpool fans are in anticipation. Ajax called Arne Slot back to the Netherlands. What was the response? We will tell. About all this and much more, we are talking right now. 9 goals in the first match, only 1 in the second. And PSG is in the CL final. But Vincent Kompany, after the final whistle, said only one thing. It is simply ridiculous. And, he spoke not about football, but about the people in black. So what actually happened at the Allianz Arena, and why does Bayern feel robbed? Now, we will break everything down. So, as a matter of fact, Dembélé scored already in the 2nd minute, and this turned out to be the only goal that Paris needed. Bayern tried the whole match. Harry Kane finally distinguished himself near the end, but the 1-1 draw was not enough. By the result of 2 meetings, 6-5, and the Parisians are flying to Budapest. But the real heat began after the match. Kompany openly went on the attack. We must consider some moments that the referees decided during 2 games. If looking at both matches, then probably too much was against us. Regarding the handball, I understand the rules. So, the first strike first hits his body, then the hand. This is from close distance. They said that because of the trajectory of the cross and assigned a penalty. Then the second strike, hand in the air. The ball hit it, but since it is from his own teammate, it is not a penalty. If looking at both moments with common sense, it is simply ridiculous. And then the second yellow card for Mendes in the first half. I thought the referee was going to show it, but I feel that he refused from this because he realized that he had already shown him a warning. These were boundaries, details. 2 wonderful teams. We congratulate them and wish them luck, we quote Kompany. The general director of Bayern, Driessen, went even further directly, called the referee Pinheiro incompetent. It is strange that a referee with only 15 matches in the CL receives such a semifinal. This explains some of his decisions. And now, the most interesting. Even before the match, when UEFA announced the appointment of João Pinheiro, Portuguese fans on Twitter literally immediately began to write, "One of the teams will be seriously wronged. I don't know which one, but definitely one." Another comment, "He is going to help PSG to advance," and more. When there are doubts, a penalty for the blue team. This was all written 3 days before the match. People in Portugal already knew the reputation of their own referee. And here, everything came true. And Ryan Babel, former forward of Liverpool after the match, wrote on the social network simply and without diplomacy. But no, this referee received Arab money. Harshly. And tellingly, it is Babel, the first player in history who was fined for a post about a referee back in 2011. He knows what happens for such words. And he still wrote. So, what do I think regarding this? The hand of Neves, for me, it is not a penalty. Because the ball was going from his own player and generally in the other direction from the goal. But the moment with Mendes, this is a fierce disgrace. It seems the referee simply got scared to send off the PSG player and painted a foul where it was not. Is this a conspiracy? I do not think so. Rather, simply a human error. But in a match where everything is decided by 1 goal, such errors cost the exit to the final. At the same time, let's be objective. PSG, a deserved finalist. Luis Enrique built a team that knows not only how to attack, but also how to survive under pressure. Dembélé scores in the most important moments. And 44 goals for the tournament, this is a cosmic indicator. May 30th, Budapest. The best attack of the tournament against the best defense. PSG against Arsenal, which conceded only 6 times. Luis Enrique already said, "I respect Arteta. We played together even as children, but we believe in our style." Arsenal in the Champions League final. Arsenal leads in the PL, and now Arsenal is on the threshold of becoming the wealthiest club in England. Yes, wealthier than Manchester City. Wealthier than Liverpool. A club that a few years ago did not even play in the Champions League now is rewriting the financial map of English football. Let's go by the numbers. For the past season, Arsenal earned record £691 million, but still was inferior to Liverpool with £703 million and City with £694. The difference is meager. And now, add to this the current season. Only for participation in the Champions League and the exit to the final, Arsenal already received £122 million of prize money from UEFA. And this is still without the final. If they win in Budapest, the sum will grow even more. Commercial revenue of the club soared by 41% to $263 million. Matchday income grew by 17%. This is already not just a good season, this is a financial revolution. And at the same time, the summer will be not only about purchases. Sky Sports reports the club plans serious sales alongside new signings. Years of heavy spending under Arteta require balance. But here is the nuance. If they win the UCL, another bonus opens up. Victory in the Champions League guarantees participation in the Club World Cup 2029, and Chelsea last summer earned £90 million on it. Here is what impresses me most. Arsenal did not buy this success, it built it. There were no sheikhs, there were no state funds, there were no crazy infusions. Arteta came to a club that for years could not get out of the top four, and step by step made it a financial and sporting leader of England. And you know what is most interesting? The largest earning is still ahead, May 30th, Budapest. One match that can definitively close the question. Arsenal, this is the wealthiest club in the PL. Ajax is looking for a coach. Looked at the Premier League, saw slot, called, and received a refusal. But the question remains open, is this truly good news for Liverpool? The facts are simple. Ajax, after the departure of Fred Grimm, is looking for a permanent coach and set its eyes on Slot, a person who grew up precisely in the Dutch school of football, who understands this system from the inside. The logic is clear. But Slot decided to stay at Anfield and will begin the 2026/27 season with Liverpool. It would seem wonderful news for the red half of Merseyside. But here there is a nuance. And let's be honest. This season for Slot turned out ambiguous. Liverpool did not win the PL title in the European competitions. They also did not reach the final. Klopp left him a championship squad and a huge credit of trust from the fans. And the question that sounds more and more in the stands, did Slot truly raise this team to a new level or simply rode on the inertia of the previous coach? Slot decided to stay. But there is one question that I cannot let go already, 2 seasons in a row. What football does he want to play? Seriously, 2 years. A squad for which other coaches would sell their soul. And after 2 seasons, I still cannot describe the idea of Slot in one sentence. Klopp, this was gegenpressing, emotion, verticality. And Slot, there are moments, there are glimpses, but there is no cohesive picture. The team is strong individually, but individual quality without a coaching idea, this is not football. These are simply expensive players on one pitch. And the most disturbing is not the absence of trophies, but the absence of understanding where this is all moving. Maybe the 3rd season will set everything in its place. Maybe we will finally see that drawing. But if also next May we will be asking the same question, the answer will become obvious by itself. Although, if already being frank, I would now take Xabi Alonso while he is free and would send Slot to Ajax. But this is only my opinion. Exited from the Champions League and immediately into the transfer summer, Bayern is not sitting with arms folded. There are already 2 concrete names on the table, Rafael Leao from Milan and Anthony Gordon from Newcastle. Different players, different situations, but one goal. Kompany wants a new wing, and he is ready to fight for it. We begin with Leao. Milan is ready to release the Portuguese and set a price tag around €70 million. But here is the nuance. Even a few years ago for Leao, they asked $120 million, and Chelsea really considered such an offer. Now, though, Milan is ready to sell him twice cheaper. What happened? Simply, the player did not meet expectations after his golden season. This year, only 10 goals in 25 matches, Form is unstable, injuries interfere, but talent has gone nowhere. And Bayern sees potential in him, especially under the leadership of a coach who already turned Olise and Diaz into top players. Now, Gordon, here the situation is different and much more complicated. Bayern already put concrete figures on the table, a 5-year contract, personal terms agreed. Kompany personally approved the deal. The player is ready to go. The problem is one Newcastle. The club wants 90 million euros and is not going to yield. Bayern considers this sum inflated and has clear financial boundaries. That is exactly why Eberl and Freund are simultaneously leading negotiations with several other candidates in case if Newcastle does not yield. And here is what is interesting about Gordon himself. This season became for him the best in his career. 17 goals in all tournaments, 10 of them in the Champions League. After the exit of Newcastle from Barca, he was the second top scorer of the tournament behind only Mbappe. The player was inspired by the example of Olise. He too was a not bad player of a middle club until he got to Munich. Now Gordon wants to repeat this path. 2 transfers, 2 different logics. Leao, this is a stake on a player who did not fulfill promises, but the price has already become reasonable. Risk exists, but controlled. Gordon, this is a more expensive and more complicated matter. 90 million for a player who still has to prove his stability on the top level. This is serious money, especially when the squad already has Diaz, who spent this season brilliantly. My opinion, if Bayern signs someone alone, take Gordon, young, hungry, already proven in the Champions League. But if Newcastle does not drop the price, Leao may turn out to be the better deal of the summer. And who would you want to see in Munich? Write in the comments. Real Madrid, a club that won 15 Champions Leagues, a club state, and here it is in May 2026. Players are fighting at training. Vinicius wants to go. And the only hope, a 63-year-old Portuguese, who already once left this club in a scandal. Welcome to the most dramatic summer in the history of Real. We begin with training. According to market data, a newspaper that is difficult to suspect of anti-Madrid moods, Valverde and Tchouameni at Valdebebas almost fought. Everything started from an ordinary foul at training, escalated into a scuffle, and passed simply into the dressing room. They were being pulled apart by teammates and the coaching staff, and this is not the first case. Before this, Dani Ceballos flew out of the squad after a quarrel with the coach Arbiola. Then Rudiger and Carreras, another incident with a teammate, as Carreras himself delicately wrote on Instagram. The dressing room of Real, now this is not a team. This is a temporary space for people who barely tolerate each other. Now Vinicius. According to the information of the same Marca, the Brazilian has serious doubts regarding his future in the club. Negotiations about the contract stopped. He is dissatisfied with the situation inside the club and wants changes before signing anything. And tension with the new coach also a factor. Read between the lines. Mbappe arrived and turned everything over. The star number 1 now is not him. This is painful for Vinny. And now, the main news. Mourinho, Jose, and Florentino Perez held a video call lasting about an hour. Mendes was present, but as an observer. And the special one laid out his requirements, non-financial, but very concrete. He wants full sporting control, restructuring of the medical department, and absolute disciplinary power over the squad. Simply speaking, if he seats someone on the bench, even Mbappe, it is his decision, and nobody calls Perez to complain. The response of the president is expected next week. Here is where it is most interesting. Mourinho is right in his requirements, absolutely. He knows this club from the inside, he knows how Perez interferes, and he does not want to repeat 2013. But is Florentino truly ready to let go of the steering wheel? This is a person who controls everything from transfers to media. To give Mourinho full power, this is not in his nature. And here is a paradox. The only person who can bring order in this dressing room is the person who requires conditions to which Perez has never agreed with anyone. If he gives, Mourinho can do a miracle. If not, he will receive another season of chaos, only already with a more famous name on the coaching bench. Ancelotti said that this was the hardest dressing room in his career. Interesting what he will say about it now. It is even interesting whether will Perez give Mourinho real power, or is this another beautiful PR move?